Campers! Hey campers, welcome back to Camp Insomnia! I am your head camp counselor, Zach.
And I am Mom.
You're your mother.
I am, what is it? The camper's mom or mom's camper?
You're the camp mom. You're
I'm the camp mom. There,
okay,
that's why I was looking for camper.
So if you were to have a role at camp, what would it be? Like a specific role.
A specific role? Can I yell at the campers? Like, do this, go there, don't do this, leave your bag here. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Like check in. I check you in.
I check you. Okay.
Check you in.
All right.
Because half of you guys don't check out, so
yeah,
I check you in.
That's true. That's true. All right, cool. Well, campers, well, this is another special guest.
Me.
Yes. Devin, unfortunately,
she is stuck at the porta potty. Let's be honest. She went to go take a shit, and she's stuck. And some of the campers don't want to let her out, so they may tip it over. Sorry.
Yeah.
And not sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's totally it. That's totally the reason. But Devin will be back, I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
I said that last episode, but I'm serious.
It's the longest shit ever.
Anyways, some news to my life right now. The film I'm working on got an extension, thank God. I'm working like crazy still, and I fly back to Montreal on Monday. Yeah,
I have to check you out.
Yeah, back to Montreal. Yeah, my family is a little sad, but you know, it's not like they're never ever gonna see me again.
True.
Knock on wood.
Well,
knock on wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only like crazy news in my life. Any news in your life?
No, I live a boring square bubble life. Square bubble didn't make sense, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't do anything.
Square
I work
bubble.
from. I know it makes no sense. I work at home and I do nothing but work and clean. Oh yeah, I am the fucking maid. So that's all I do. I work on a computer, and then once I'm done, I'm cleaning constantly. Yeah. Whee!
Oh, mom's out there. Woo!
You all know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's it.
That's a great catch up. All right, campers. Let's segue. Without further ado,
Okay.
like always,
All right.
let's gather around the campfire. I have to change it up.
I'm like, what the hell? Are you gonna get all gather around the campfire?
Okay, let's gather around the campfire. Okay, so what do we bring to the campfire?
We're bringing some bug repellent. Girls, you know what I'm talking about. Moms especially knows what I'm talking about. Some bug repellent. We need some. We gotta fight off the little demons that bite us through our little camp stories.
Yeah.
So definitely bug repellent for
All right.
sure. Snacks. We are the snack. According to the mosquitoes, that's why we need the bug repellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
And then Devin usually gives a tip for camp. So the hint I'm going to give you for this very terrifying story is hitchhiking. That's the hint.
Well, you never pick up a hitchhiker. Duh. So the hint or the moral of the story is you see somebody on the highway with their little thumb sticking out, keep on trucking.
Yep. Keep on trucking. Keep on trucking.
Do not stop.
Do not stop. All right. So the story, or I guess the case we're going to be talking about today, is of course a true story as always, but it has to do with a woman named Mary Vincent. And before I crack
it's not
into
Bloody
this,
Mary.
no,
Oh, you say it in okay. It's a totally different Mary.
no. If you say Mary Vincent 3 times, she's not going to appear.
Oh, okay.
So you're safe.
Oh,
You're safe.
okay. Well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard the story, so I don't know how safe I'm going to be or how you're going to be, you little campers.
That's true. With this story, like many others, there is like a content warning, like a disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody listening, the story has very graphic and very horrifying sexual assaults happenings in this case.
Well, that's a joy.
Yeah, and it also involves violence and dismemberment. So if these sound too graphic for you to listen to, then like you're more than welcome to come back to a later episode around the campfire.
Just skip to the end.
Yeah, just skip to the end where we're just saying our jokes. Just saying our jokes, having a funny time. But for the ones that are willing to stay and learn about Mary Vincent, please be advised this is a very harrowing tale.
Okay. Well, I'm stuck here, so I'm listening to it.
Yep, you're stuck.
Here I go.
All right, so this case that I found comes from the show I Survived.
Oh, I know the show.
Yeah.
I think I've watched it a few times. I haven't heard about Mary, but I watched a couple of them. That's an old show, right? Isn't that like an old show?
That's kind of old, yeah.
Because I don't think I've seen it recently.
Anything that's come up of it.
No.
But so spoiler alert,
Okay.
Someone survives.
Oh, geez.
Wow,
Okay.
I survived.
Ooh.
Wow. Woo. But just how they survive is like really brutal.
Oh.
And how Mary Vincent survived is wild.
Okay.
So you're gonna like this. So
Okay.
all right, here we go.
I'm ready.
So if you would like to watch this episode and hear Mary Vincent like retell her account and see like the dramatized
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like the
versions, the TV version,
Uh-huh.
you can watch it on season 4, episode 1, or you can listen to like me talking about it.
Okay.
Up to you. I'd rather you listen to me talking about
Well,
it.
yeah, because
That's why you're here.
exactly. Okay.
So Mary Vincent, at the time of September 29th of 1978, she was a 15-year-old girl living in the fast-paced city of Las Vegas.
I was 7. Okay. Go
Hey,
ahead.
7, wow.
I just aged me. Oops, sorry.
Someone's doing the math right now.
I know. Like, well, how old is she?
How old is she? So she grew up in a military family, and at 15, she was at odds with her parents.
Okay. 15 is the rightful age of being at odds with your parents.
But then too, like I think we've grown up with friends and family that are military families, like heavily military families.
Oh yeah.
So we know that like they're very strict. You have to be very well mannered, and there's lots of rules that being forced upon the kids, and like you can't take a step out of line.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
I mean, also she's 15, teenager.
Yep.
Has a strict family. It's
that's what I meant. Yeah. 15.
Yeah. It's not
hard age.
Yeah. It's not a good, I don't know, atmosphere.
You're right. Okay.
So for many of her friends and family, what am I saying? Anyways, this led to Mary Vincent to run away from home and leave to California. Woo, California!
Yeah, well, it wasn't far from Vegas, like 4 hours.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
But still, woo, California!
Okay, woo, California!
Which I don't blame Mary, but also 15 is really young to be running away from home.
True.
But then again, it is like 1978.
Totally different times.
So different time. Now back to September 29th, 1978. She hitchhiked from her uncle's house in Berkeley, California, and planned on getting to her grandfather's house in Los Angeles.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And that's a distance.
Yeah, that is. Okay.
So Mary that day stood on the side of the road with 2 other girls who were hitchhiking as well. Right? Mary didn't know who these girls were, but nevertheless, she stood with them, and as they held their signs up where they wanted to go.
Oh, so they had signs. They didn't even stick out the thumb?
No, they had signs like, I'm going to L.A. I'm going to...
L.A. or bust.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
okay,
stuff like that.
Gotcha.
A blue van pulled up to the 3 girls.
That's already dangerous. A blue van. If you're from the 70s, these little vans are funkadelish kind of thing.
Funkadelish?
Because that's what you see. Like, okay, have you guys ever seen, what was it? Not Carrie, maybe Carrie. I don't know if that was one of like a van that was in there, but I know there was this one 70s movie, and it has like these vans, and they're always, having sex in it, and it's got like a bed in the back, and they got the dice in the mirror, the beads. All okay. Well, that's what when you said that, that's visually what I saw in my head. Woo!
Yeah. So red flag.
Red flag.
Red
it's
flag.
not the Scooby Mobile coming. The
mystery machine. Well, the reason why she would trust this blue van, where next to 3 other girls, was because the man in the car was a very kind-looking old man, and he went by the name of Lawrence Singleton. Right?
Okay.
He was a former merchant marine and looked very grandfatherly in appearance.
Okay.
And he was wearing very large blue overalls. He was 51 at the time and just got out of his second divorce. And he also had a teenager that was 15 also at the time. So his appearance made Mary very comfortable because he looked like an old soul.
Okay.
This old grandpa, very harmless, almost like a Santa Claus kind of figure. You know what I mean? He's like, what is this guy gonna do? And also, he looks nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, for the time, you figure it's in the 70s. You got to remember, this is in the 70s. Campers, so many different things.
Yeah.
We didn't have what we have now, this technology. So, yes, I can understand. Just meeting somebody, having that conversation, just look-wise, you're going to trust.
Yeah.
You're going to trust.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Lawrence, a.k.a. Larry, told the 3 hitchhiking girls, sorry, I only have room for one of you girls.
In that van?
Exactly. Exactly. He was driving a van.
Yeah.
And he only has room for one.
Sus. Okay.
Exactly. Sus.
Okay.
So the girls were like all standoffish, except for Mary.
Oh, Mary wanted to go.
Yeah, exactly, because she wanted to leave. She wanted to leave. And she would be able to get her grandfather's, and this was the only way she'd be able to get there.
Right.
So she was like, well, fuck it. I'm out of odds. These broads don't want to do it. I'm going to go for it.
Right.
So she gets in the car with Larry. And Larry then told her that he also had a 15-year-old daughter, and now he was very proud of her. Further making Mary all the more comfortable and reassuring her that he was this kind old man, plus he was a father, and that had a daughter at the same age.
Got it. Okay.
So making her comfortable.
Yeah,
exactly.
Conversation. Yeah. Got it.
He then told her that he wouldn't be going to Los Angeles, which is where she wanted, where she needed to go.
Right.
I mean, the only reason as to why she got into the van is because he happily reassured her that we're going to Los Angeles, because that's what her sign said.
Uh-huh.
But he said, if you I wouldn't mind taking a detour. Larry's like, I don't mind taking a detour to Los Angeles. I just kind of have to make a pit stop.
Oh, okay. So he's telling her, I'll take you there, but I'm going to have to do this first before I take you to LA. But I kind of wasn't going that way, but I'll do it for you. But you have to do this 15-year-old. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he told her that he would be taking Interstate 5, which is the fastest route south, which is true.
Yeah, I know.
California.
I know the 5.
Mary would then state that the majority of the ride was uneventful as they drove. What she thought would be her destination.
Okay.
Yeah. But at one point during the ride, Mary whipped out a cigarette to smoke. And as she was smoking, she sneezed. Just then, Larry, reached out and placed his hand behind her neck softly and asked if she was sick. Don't touch me.
Weird.
Exactly. So Mary was very uncomfortable after that. Like, why is a stranger touching me?
Right.
I sneezed. Imagine you sneeze and someone going, oh.
Right.
You're feeling sick?
Yes.
And then touching your neck? Ugh.
Freaky.
This old man, So Mary wasn't sick, but she was very unnerved by him doing this, I think, as we all would be.
Yeah.
She then would state nothing weird like this would ever happen again for the rest of the drive.
Okay.
That was the only a weird thing.
Okay.
So due to the long drive, Mary ended up falling asleep.
What?
Yeah. Why would you fall asleep?
Well, I can understand it. I mean, yes, why would you fall asleep after
the stranger's car? Yeah, exactly.
But it's a long drive. I'm sure she's tired. I'm sure when you're in the car sometimes and the sun is beating in and you just get really comfortable, it's warm, you just kind of drift off. You kind of doze off a little bit. So she probably got comfortable.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, he's not going to touch me anymore, and I'll just go to sleep.
I trust him, I guess.
Yeah, sure. It's Grandpa.
So when she woke up, she looked around and realized that they were not going in the direction towards LA. This supposed detour towards LA.
Uh-huh.
But instead, Larry was driving them east towards Modesto.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's the...
Total opposite.
That's Northern California.
Yeah, so she started to panic.
Right.
So she saw that there was a surveyor stick that was sitting beside the passenger seat and demanded he turn the car around and take her to Los Angeles. So she took this thing and was like, you're going to fucking take me to LA. What are you doing?
Huh.
Where
Interesting.
am I? Where am I?
Interesting.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So Larry was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm an honest man and it was an honest mistake. I'm so sorry. I just was in the zone. How you get into tunnel vision and you just drive because that's just your route?
Yeah.
And so he was very apologetic. I'm so sorry. He said again how sorry he was and it was some mistake, and he would turn around and take her there. He spaced out, like I said, while he was driving. And Mary was like, oh, okay. Well, if it was just an honest
Yeah.
mistake, like, okay, cool, just take me to LA.
I would have said, I have to go pee. And the nearest gas station, and then just
Well,
out.
well, guess what?
What? She did
Guess what
have to
happens?
pee?
Well, not so much Mary, but Larry says, okay, perfect, like, let me just make a stop up the road up here. I have to go, like, relieve myself because it's going to be a long drive to LA to take you on this route. Okay.
All right.
Mary's like, all right, cool. So Larry pulls over, he gets out of the car, he goes to pee. Mary then gets out of the car to stretch her legs and just, the blood flowing.
Right.
So as she was stretching, she noticed her shoe was untied, so she leaned down to tie it.
Tie her shoe. Yeah.
Just as she did that, Larry snuck up behind her as she was doing this and struck her on the back of the head with a hammer.
Oh,
yeah. So Mary was instantly knocked out.
Okay.
Yeah, wasn't expecting that.
No. I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. So Mary doesn't know like how much later, but she eventually comes to, and she's now completely naked and tied up, laying on the ground.
Oh my God. Okay, at the same place or not? He didn't put her in the van?
No, not yet.
Oh Jesus. Okay, so she's naked. She's tied.
Yeah.
Up,
Yeah.
with a
on
big
the ground.
headache.
Yeah, with a big headache. Yeah, exactly. So Larry noticed that she was awake and then forced Mary to perform various sexual acts on him.
What?
And then repeatedly would shove himself into her mouth to perform fellatio.
What a friggin' what a
Gross pig.
bad grandpa.
So then he raped her and sodomized her.
Well, yeah, obviously.
After he was done, he threw her
Yikes.
naked and tied up body in the back of his van and then drove to another secluded area and then repeatedly raped her again.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Mary states that, from what she could remember, raped her up to 8 times.
Jeez.
For what Mary is willing to recall of the rape, she said that it just hurt so much.
Oh, of course.
He then made her drink a mysterious liquid from a plastic jug or like container, to which it made her pass out. And because of this liquid, it made her come in and out of like this passed out state.
Huh.
So she would come to, then pass out, come to, then pass out again. Then on one occasion, she came to. He picked her up out of the van and threw her onto the ground, the asphalt, still naked and tied up. He forced her to lay down on her stomach. She then starts to beg for her life and asking him, like, please just let me go.
Yeah, you got what you wanted.
Yeah, just let me go.
Yeah.
So he tells her as she's laying there begging for her life, he goes, okay, you want to be set free? I'll set you free. I'll set you free.
Okay.
I'll set you free. So he then walked back to the van, reached inside, and grabbed a hatchet.
Oh my God, no way.
He then slowly walked back to her. He then got on top of her, holding her down. Mary at this point is, of course, screaming and yelling and trying to get him off her, but he was too late. Larry then raised the hatchet and then chopped off her right arm. He then hacked at the left arm just below the elbow until it snapped off.
Ow.
Yeah, it only took 3 strokes of the hatchet to sever that left arm.
Poor thing. And she's 15, right?
Yeah,
Or
15, yeah.
She's 15 and all of this has just happened to her. She just got raped by this old man, this grandpa looking man, trustworthy man. And now he's just chopped off her right arm and her left arm.
Both arms. Chopped.
I don't want to cry.
So Mary was conscious through all this, though both of her arms were getting hacked off as he straddled her. He then gets off Mary, to which Mary flips over on her back. Larry then stood there shaking at his arm. He was shaking at his arm. Why?
Yeah.
To fling blood off, perhaps? No, because Mary's arm was still gripping onto his arm.
Oh my God.
Yeah. One of the arms had been hacked off. It was still like clutching onto him.
Oh my God. Well.
Yeah. Yeah. He then rolled her off into a 30-foot embankment called the Del Puerto Canyon.
Okay, so she's rolling down this hill.
Yeah, he pushed her. Yeah, he pushed her down this 30-foot hill. Okay, so she's rolling down this
hill with no arms.
No arms. Still, like,
yeah,
tied at the feet, I think. So then he rolled her down this 30-foot embankment called the Del Puerto Canyon and then stuffed her into a drainage pipe. He then untied her constraints at that point. And as he left, he looked at her and said, okay, now you're free. So Larry at this point knows there's like no way that she's going to get out of this or becoming free. That she's probably just going to die in this drainage ditch. Yeah, bleed out and die. So, like I said, she was hit on the back of the head, raped repeatedly, thrown, given mysterious, possibly deathly fluid to drink, hacked off both arms, and then left for dead in a secluded canyon in a drainage pipe. Like, she wasn't going to survive. Like, there's no way that she could have survived.
Right.
So then, after that, he hopped back in his blue van and sped off. He's all right. Wipe my hands clean. I'm done. I'm going to get away with this. There's no way. No one can do it. So Mary, barely all there, she realized she had two options. One, to stay there and die.
Of course.
Or two, fight and get out. And one thought that helped her decide is, I need to stop him before he does this to someone else.
Right.
So she began to fight for her like inevitable death. So she forced herself to stay awake, fearing if she passes out, she'll just bleed out. She'll bleed to death, like she was already doing. She was shocked that she didn't break any bones as Leia rolled her body off a cliff and into a drainage ditch. So thankfully, she said that as she fought, like him as like this whole like battle that went on before he hacked off her arms, is that as this entire deal of her. She remembered every detail, and she would recount it over and over again.
So she wouldn't forget it. She knew what to say if she were to get found. She knew. She just kept replaying it as graphic as it was. She's like, I need to remember this. If I get out of here, I have to be like sound body and mind to be able to tell. Right, tell somebody.
So by this time, she had already lost 50% of her body's blood. To stop the blood loss from getting any worse, she shoved her hacked arms into mud.
Oh my god!
And packed the mud in to stop the bleeding.
Oh wow!
So her nubs, she's just packing it into the mud because she's in a drainage pipe. There's a bunch of it in there.
Yeah.
So she gets herself out of the drain, right, and then walked herself up the 30-foot cliff. It took her hours to get up the cliffside. Again, like no arms. 50% blood loss.
She's probably slithering to get out of the drainage pipe, and then having tried to like center balance because she doesn't have any arms to get up and try to climb this cliff. Oh my gosh!
So girl. It took her the full day to get up the cliffside.
Yeah,
the full day. I mean, you just explained it very well. What helped her more to get to the top of the cliff was hearing the roaring freeway as the cars passed by.
Yeah,
it was motivation. Like, I'm right there.
Yes.
Like, I'm just like an inch close.
Right.
So she ends up reaching the freeway.
Okay.
Thank God. She finally sees a car approaching, right? But
mind you, she's fully naked.
Yeah.
No arms.
Yeah.
Probably looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. And she's like coming at you. Yeah.
Yeah. So she saw this car approaching after she had already walked 3 miles down the road.
Okay. And then again, mind you, she can't flag them down because she doesn't have
she have arms. So this car approaches, right? And it was a convertible with 2 men in it.
Oh, God.
And they slowed down and pulled over a little bit. But the minute they saw her, they sped off.
Oh, yeah.
Terrified. Exactly. And so Mary says that she didn't blame them. She's like,
exactly.
Look at me.
Yeah.
So Mary says that to this day that she totally understands why they wouldn't stop, but she looked like something out of a horror movie. Suddenly, a couple who got lost, they were tourists visiting California.
Oh,
they came across Mary. I know these tourists, they come across Mary, right? They immediately pull over, bring her into the car and wrap her in blankets and start applying pressure on her hacked arms.
Yes.
They then drive to a nearby airport to call for emergency. All Mary could say in the moment they picked her up and were helping her, all she could say was, he raped me. Over and over and over.
Yeah, because that's what she's been planting in her head. Just everything. Yeah. So she wanted to tell somebody before she probably croaks.
Exactly.
As much information as she can.
Yeah. So she's at the airport. The help gets there. Help arrives. They airlift her by helicopter to a hospital. Yeah. Once getting there, she then asks for police ASAP. Doesn't take a moment to rest. Doesn't allow them to do anything to her. She's like, "Get me to police now."
Yeah.
Yes, of course. My arms are hacked. I look insane.
But there's a reason why.
I need the police now. Don't give me any anesthetic. Put me under. Nothing. So I guess she described she described Larry so well to a T that like immediately when they released the composite sketch of Larry, Larry's neighbor, who was a good friend, saw this on the TV and ratted him out.
Oh, good.
Because it was so clear. She did such a good job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Mary would then pick out his photo out of 6 others in front of a grand jury at one point. In 1979, he went to court. Mary was there to testify against him. And when it was her turn to testify, she stood up in front of the court and pointed out.
Well, she couldn't point.
Yeah. Well, no, hold on. She pointed out with her hooked prosthetic arm at him.
Thank you. Okay.
She had a prosthetic and said, "That's him." Right.
Ah.
Mary then and now will only refer to him as her attacker. Never as Larry, never as this man,
right.
Just her attacker.
Okay.
Larry's defense to all this was that he has
a defense?
Yeah, he has a defense.
Oh, jeez. I like to hear this. Go ahead.
Exactly. So Larry's defense in all this is that he was very drunk and that she was just a $10 whore.
Oh, what a jerk.
Yeah. He also claimed that the other 2 hitchhikers that were waiting at the curb with her were in the van with them as well. And that he said that there was another Larry in the car with them, and that if what she says is true, that it was committed by the other Larry and not him.
Oh, sure. Yeah. His split personality.
Yeah. So he insisted on being framed. Yeah, he insists on being framed not only by this other Larry, but also by these girls that conspired to make this happen to get him framed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, totally, dude. So, later on, he became a little bit more truthful, a little bit more forthcoming.
Because things weren't going his way.
Exactly, because that's a crock of shit defense.
Exactly.
He stated that the only reason why he hacked off her arms was to remove her ID. Which is stupid because that's not how that fucking works.
Oh my god!
There's teeth. You gotta work dental records. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, dumbass.
Oh my lord.
So Mary would then rush out of the courtroom after testifying because Larry would then whisper to her a very gross comment.
What?
Yeah.
I
guess they got into a close proximity.
That's what I was going to say.
And he was able to whisper something to her. And Larry then said, "I will finish this job if it takes me the rest of my life."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So he would then later testify that he did indeed make this statement to her. Because he denied it at first. Then he said, "Yeah, I said it."
So then why did he change his story? Did somebody else hear him? Did he finally just...
Oh, she probably spoke out against it. He's like, I didn't say that. And then later he's like, "Okay, yeah, I said it."
What a...
But how, chilling is that?
Oh my god.
I will finish his job if it takes me the rest of my life.
Well, he has a shorter life compared to her life.
Exactly.
So maybe that's why he cupped. He's like, well, he started thinking about it. Well, I'm in my, what was he?
51, right? I want to say it's 51.
Is, mid-aged. Okay, because I don't age myself. But, he's just figuring, I got another maybe 10, 20 years, maybe top 20. And she's got a whole lifetime with no arms because I took them from her. And I'm the stupid jerk. So I better just cop up to it because I'm not going to live a lifetime.
No. So her parents would then take her side to assist.
I forgot about the parents.
Yeah. So to assist with her trauma and health, but Mary states that they weren't in a good place for their relationship for them to be much of help.
Yeah, because she left. That's the reason why she left.
Exactly. And so she would then later state, they couldn't handle it. They took it harder than me. I'm telling them I need you, but they couldn't do it. They were more interested in what they thought happened to me than what I felt.
Oh, I see. I can understand that.
They're like,
it's hard to process it. Yeah. They didn't know how to process it.
So Larry was then committed for many charges.
Okay.
Thank God. Those being attempted murder, kidnapping, rape, sodomy, oral stimulation, aggravated assault, and the use of an axe to cause great bodily harm.
What about the hammer?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
What about the hammer? Give her the headache.
I guess aggravated assault, I guess.
Yeah, that's
going to that. So at the time, he got the max sentence, which was only 14 years in prison.
14 years?
Yep, that was it. That was a max sentence in 1978.
Well, then maybe now I understand why he made that comment, because he's thinking,
well, it's going to get worse. Want to know why?
Why?
He only served 8 of those 14 years because of good behavior.
Good behavior to who?
Exactly.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, it
He was
is
there
the
8
70s,
years.
80s, you know. Yeah.
So when he got out, he immediately tried to sue Mary.
For what?
Exactly. So the
Defamation of character or something?
Well, the reason being is because while he was in jail, he considered the alleged events, according to him.
But he pleaded guilty and he was doing time.
Exactly.
So how is they alleged?
So he denied he ever did those things to Mary.
Oh, so now he
And it's back to
retracts,
the
even though
Larry
he was found guilty. Oh, Lordy.
And copped to everything. He's a fucking idiot. He then says he remembers Mary threatening to accuse him of rape and brandishing a stick at him, which she did do in the car. Remember when she woke up?
Yes.
He said that what caused him to be so violent, he said was he would then sue her for like forcible kidnap for the intention of robbery. Like he's like, the reason why I was so violent towards her is because she was trying to rob me and like blackmail me. So that's why I was violent. So it's not my fault. It's her fault for making me do those things.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Lucky for us, the courts dismissed it.
Of course they did.
Thank God.
There's so much evidence against that.
Him, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So after 8 years of Larry being in jail, he is out now. Mary is very paranoid.
Of course.
I mean, that comment.
Yeah.
If it takes me all my life, I'm gonna finish the job.
Right.
She couldn't be at one place for too long. She went through a series of like many bodyguards, and at one point began living out of an abandoned gas station in fear for her life because there was no name to that address.
Right.
And due to the comment made by Larry in court, if I will finish the job if it takes me the rest of my life, she just couldn't. She just started to fall apart.
Right.
She suffered from depression, high anxiety, relationships with family, friends, significant others fell through. She was suffering. Knowing Larry was out there a free man.
Mm-hmm.
Only after 8 years, after what he did, raped and sodomized and cut off her arms.
But not just that, too. I mean, she probably lives in fear of, him finding her, obviously. Yeah. But then I'm sure in her mind, too, because she saved herself. What if he does it to somebody else? He didn't get away with it, but he got away with it because he's not serving 14 years. He only served 8 for good behavior to the guards. I don't know.
So she's worried that who's to say that he doesn't or isn't already coming after her.
Yeah. Sure.
She eventually started a family and had 2 sons. She said that becoming a mother, she finally had something worth living for.
Gotcha.
She says that that's what got her out of her dark place, was having her kids. Larry's own family, it turns out, was terrified of him.
Oh.
Yeah, this is before. This is before all this.
Think about Larry. Did he have a family? Did he have a wife, children?
So before all this happened, his own family was terrified of him because he would beat his wife often and daughter constantly.
So he had a young daughter.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, that was real.
Oh.
So Larry's wife often said how lucky she was to have her daughter not born with complications due to him beating her while she was pregnant.
Did he do anything to his daughter?
I don't know. That wasn't mentioned.
You just figure because he had raped and sodomized and all this stuff to Mary,
what makes you think
is he sick, mind to do it to his daughter?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a terrible
So now that Larry's on parole, he is now looking for a place to live. He can't stay with his wife and daughter because they were like in hiding.
Oh yeah, I would have been in hiding too.
So he began to search for a place to like lay his little shithead ass at. So California found out that he was paroled, and they didn't want his ass anywhere in the state of California.
Right.
As many would.
Right.
So many California communities and even counties protested that he not live within them. I found this out.
Mm-hmm.
They would go as far as to telling parole officials that he can relocate in these California communities.
Yeah, because they would just protest of where he lived, and they would cause a big ruckus. Of so and so lives here, and they'll picket outside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was then forced to live in a mobile home on San Quentin Prison. Until his parole ended in 1980.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah. So he would then move to Florida and then register himself as a convicted felon to where he would start his new life.
Okay, what, in the crocodile field?
Exactly.
He's slipping there or something?
So his move to Florida, to where he was originally from, was not an easy process. He came from a huge family, a family of 8, and most of them lived in Florida. Many wanted nothing to do with him. I wonder why.
Okay.
Until his brother let him stay with him.
Ah.
There's always one in the family that's
they
gonna.
want to help. They want to help.
An olive branch.
Yeah, an olive branch.
So.
Trying to help.
Well, the community soon found out, and the community was outraged, so much so that they were throwing Molotov and firebombs into Larry's brother's front yard.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, they're like, get the fuck out. So much, we're going to blow up your house. So Larry, from 1990 to 1991, was arrested for shoplifting 3 different times. Many Florida communities went to his hearings to protest that he leave the state and that he was a menace to their livelihoods.
Okay, well, you know what? Is he working? How is Larry getting money?
He's just living with his brother, bumming it.
Okay, so his brother giving him money?
I guess. Well, shoplifting.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If he's shoplifting, it's because he doesn't have any money. But I'm thinking, well, then how? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so his excuse for shoplifting was because he was just a confused old man.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Now he's what, 58, close to 60?
Confused old man.
He's not that feeble.
Oh, I'm just old.
Yeah.
So after living with his brother for a while, he soon moved out to stop the constant harassment he was causing for his own brother.
No, his brother kicked him out.
Exactly.
My poor little brother. I'm just going to leave. No, his brother's like, get the hell out.
Get the hell out. So he moved to a family home in Tampa, Florida, that the family owned.
Okay.
His new neighbor said that he was a great guy. And they loved him.
Wow.
Yeah. At first, his neighbors thought he was a scary menace to society. But
because they knew.
Because they knew. They knew.
But
they stated that with every new conversation they had with him and the gifts of steak and food he would make for them, they saw that he was like a star neighbor they always wanted. And they started to believe the narrative that he was framed by Mary.
I could see,
Yeah.
Okay.
So his neighbors say he was the nicest neighbor in the neighborhood, that he would fix stuff for their neighbors, like mailboxes, fences, cars, etc. Also that he was, of course, the sweetest man they ever met, the same narrative. The neighbors that knew of his past forgave him due to his good deeds and actions.
Good behavior.
He has good behavior, and the ones that didn't, they never knew. They only saw Larry as a sweet old man, because some people just didn't know his past.
Right, okay.
A quote from one of the neighbors is, "We don't love what he did in the past," which I don't think nobody does. Right. But why don't you give him a chance? You can't dwell on the past too much. No.
It's not like he sold drugs to
a minor or something.
No, he chopped off her arms and he raped her repeatedly.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any arms for the rest of her life.
Yeah, he left her for dead.
Oh my God.
So one day, his neighbors find him passed out in his van. He had tried to attempt suicide.
Darn it.
Oh, gosh darn.
Sorry.
But he attached a hose from the exhaust pipe of his van to the inside of his van.
Yeah, that's old school.
They saved him, but he ended up spending a week in a psych ward before returning home. Tom Bennett, his neighbor, would then go on to say that Larry said he did it because he was feeling sorry for himself, and that's why he tried to kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I wonder why he's feeling sorry for all the crazy shit he did. So February 1997, a warm Wednesday night, a man who had done some renovation work for Larry said he dropped by Larry's house and heard some scary commotion going on in Larry's house.
Scary commotion?
Yeah, scary commotion.
Okay.
So he peered through. Oh God, I just spit all over my computer. So he peered through. So he peered through the front window and saw Larry naked in the living room. Already shocking enough. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Old butt.
Yeah. But more like it.
But Larry was naked in the living room, choking and punching and stabbing a woman repeatedly nude on the couch.
No.
The woman was screaming for her life. He said that.
But where are the neighbors? They don't hear this?
Hear it.
Oh my God.
So Larry, he said that Larry was maniacally stabbing her in a frenzy. Just
going for it. Yeah.
The man then rushed to call the police. And when the police arrived and knocked on the door, Larry answered the door, naked and covered in blood, very casually.
Like, hey guys.
And said the woman was dead. He was like, "Oh, the woman's dead."
She attacked me as I was sleeping in the nude, right?
So,
okay.
The woman was Roxanne Hayes. She was a 31-year-old sex worker, a Tampa resident, and a mother of 3. Yeah. The man The state of Florida flew Mary down for this trial. She didn't have to testify, but she was like, "I'm gonna make sure this man goes down."
Right.
Like I'm gonna seem like a canary. Like this can't happen again. Like
it already happened
again. Yeah, you know. So this time he would be convicted of murder and would be sentenced to death.
Oh, good.
Thank God.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Florida. He would not make it to his death sentence, for cancer got the best of him while he waited on death row.
Okay, well, he did, and unfortunately, because we know about cancer, but he did suffer somewhat.
What? Yeah.
What type of cancer does it say?
It doesn't say. It just says cancer. So he died at 74 in 2001.
74. He lived a long time.
He did live a long time.
Wow. And when did he die? And what year?
2001.
Oh, wow. That's not too long ago.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for him to get the death sentence.
Bye, Larry.
Yeah, bye, Larry. As a result of his crimes, he actually helped courts make sure people who do violent crimes spend the duration of their time in prison.
Oh, hello. Yeah. There's good behavior.
Good behavior for chopping off a woman's arms and raping them. So that they don't get out on early.
Right.
And they don't do this again. And for what this violent crime is, like attempted murder, that it would lead to a life sentence and not just 14 years.
Gotcha.
Because a life sentence is 30 years.
Right. Gotcha.
Like, I think it's ridiculous for attempted murder, only 14 years.
And you only serve 8 because
he was so nice in prison. He made great license plates.
Yeah, right?
Fucking piece of shit. So, when his neighbors found out about the murder of Roxanne Hayes, the neighbors that saved him from his van, they stated, should I have saved him from his van?
No, they shouldn't have.
If I didn't, that woman would still be alive today. Like if I only knew.
That's gonna weigh hard on them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, because they're thinking this is a nice man.
Yeah, but also they're doing
he's changed.
Well, yes, that and two, the people that probably didn't know his past, they're just trying to save him from himself.
Yeah.
And find out what his problems are, his issues. Obviously, he was going through something. They don't know everything.
Yeah.
So, of course, but now that they know that they saved a man from killing himself and therefore he killed somebody else, now it's conflicting.
Yeah.
You know, you saved him, but then he turned around and brutally killed
he took
a
someone
mother
else's
of
life.
3.
Yeah.
Like, those children are motherless. Oh, gosh, yeah. I wouldn't like to be that neighbor.
So, as for Mary, she said that she was still very terrified and had like continuous nightmares, especially after this new trial because it just brought everything back up. Yep. She says that she can't stay asleep for very long due to her trauma because she'll just have nightmares, which I do not blame you. Yep. She says, I have broken bones thanks to my nightmares. I've jumped up and dislocated my shoulder just trying to get out of bed. I've cracked ribs and smashed my nose. Every day I pray to God to make a space that I can breathe in, and every day God gives it to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
God answers.
So Mary is now an artist.
She's an artist.
Yeah, fun fact. Okay. So she picked up this skill due to this incident where her arms being chopped off. She uses her prosthetic hooks to draw, and she creates different tools to attach to her arms to create art. By breaking apart old refrigerators to make her own set of attachable tools. She's like a little tinkerer.
Yeah.
And she does this all herself. And so she then states, I've entered the third phase of this ordeal. First I was a victim, then I was a survivor, and now I'm an artist. Wow. She stated her own foundation called the Mary Vincent Foundation to help with teens who have suffered from sexual assault. Mm-hmm. She then states, I have never indulged myself in anger and hate, and I wouldn't be here if I had.
Wow. Mary.
Mm-hmm. And that's
she's a survivor.
Yeah, that's
sure.
That's a survivor of Mary Vincent, like her story.
Yikes! What a story.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
Holy crap! That was wow.
It's a wild case. She lived though, and not many cases like these do people live. And who's to say that he wouldn't, if he got away with this and she did die, that he would do this to countless other hitchhikers? Oh, he would have done that.
I mean, obviously he killed Roxanne, so he would have done that and
more. Yeah.
And or things that people that he probably chopped up before.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know if he killed anybody else beforehand.
Yeah. But I wonder about those 2 other girls that he said he only had room for one. Mm-hmm. If those other 2 girls later on in life found out about that, like they
that could have been us.
Yeah, that could have
been us.
All of us. Oh gosh, wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, luckily, maybe their sign said, Chatsworth or bust. And she's like, I'm going to Chatsworth, but I'll go to LA.
I go to LA.
I don't know.
But no, like the 70s was a big time for a lot of hitchhikers who go missing. Like Ed Kemper, he would pick up college students and murder them.
Yeah, it was a big time back then.
Yeah, people were I mean, you did it. You should tell your story. What happened? Did you almost get kidnapped?
No, I don't know. Wait, what story is this that you speak of?
I know the story.
What story?
The story, remember? You in Bell Gardens and these guys tried to, like, kidnap you? Right? You did hitchhiking one time and they tried to kidnap you? I just say it.
Why do I have to say it?
Tell the listeners.
But you know what? I can say that I've been, let's say, picked up.
Okay.
And, taken to parties or taken to my house or taken to my friend's house. And I really didn't know that individual very well. So, yes. I can say it, well, there was like a Halloween. It was around Halloween time. And we're all dressed up in costume. And I remember the van. And I won't say who was there because I don't know if they're listening. But anyways, my two very good high school friends, which I know to this day, great girls. We were, I was going to say hitchhiking. We weren't hitchhiking. We were trick-or-treating. And we happened to get into this alley where this freaking van came, opened the side door, and I was a cat. My other friend was a cat too. I forget what my other girlfriend was. Were we all three cats? I can't remember. But anyways, I was definitely a cat. Mm-hmm. And I was the alley cat. And we're in the alley, ironically. Yeah. And of course, they're following us, and we see them
alley in the van.
Exactly. And I remember, okay, you guys can't see me, but I was like, with my arms up like a cat, like, And he's like, where you going, pussycat? And I'm like, oh my gosh. We screamed. We ran from that van for blocks.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, and then we're on our block where I grew up at, and we saw the van. So we knew this neighbor, so we ran to their brick, wall. Mm-hmm. We climbed over that wall, and it was a pretty high brick wall. Okay. And there's like no little
like divots to put your feet in.
No, I don't know how. We were cats, so we got over it. We jammed, and we've always talked about it to this day.
Yeah,
because it was very scary, and who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. You could have been another Mary Vincent.
But I survived.
Yeah, thank God. You're here.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm here because you're here.
To tell the story. But, I mean, I've had some really weird things happen to me. But, again, it was just a different time, too. Yeah. Would I do that today?
Hell no.
No.
I'm surprised. It's weird when, we'll be on the interstate here in Oklahoma and you'll see a random hitchhiker. I'm like, you're still doing that?
Yes.
Don't you know?
Really weird. I don't see them very often as I used to when I was younger with my parents or whatever. I see a lot of hitchhikers. We would never pick them up, obviously. Yeah. My parents might always tell me, no, never pick up a hitchhiker, although I did that. But I was a good girl. But it was kind of like the norm you would see. And then you would see the signs, LA or bust, Vegas or bust or whatever. You'd see them. And then I'm sure you see old movies. They would pick up people. Oh, how far are you going? Yeah. Or I'm not going this way, but I'm going
like half a distance.
Yeah. I can give you a ride.
Yeah.
Get in the back
or
whatever.
Figure out
with the chickens in the back or whatever. I mean, it was the norm. As weird as that sounds, it's really not normal, but it was something that you would see, and it would
at the time.
But then too, my parents would say a bunch of hippies because it was that time before I was born too in the 60s. It was a hippie thing, and in the 70s it was disco, and people need to get to the disco, so they would hitchhike to get to the disco. Anyways, okay, enough of my.
No, that was great. No, I'm pretty sure everyone loved that. It was not boring. Well, did you?
I totally enjoyed Mary's story.
Yeah.
It's so sad though, and I'm so glad that she is a survivor and she's gone on with her life and she's had children. She's got two strong men, I'm sure, boys, to take care of their mom if she ever needed them to take care of her. And I'm just so happy that she's gone on with her life and able to tell her story and wasn't a statistic where she can't tell her story, and you have
Yeah.
to figure this may have happened to her.
Yeah.
And
she was strong enough to share it.
yes.
All right, campers. Well, I'm gonna go. I'll be back with a joke, but in the meantime, we need like a little
joke?
like a joke,
How can
just
you
to
say-
lighten it,
Oh,
the mood.
I don't know. What kind of joke could you say?
No,
I don't know, like
something.
about hitchhiking or something.
Yeah, hitchhiking joke. Sure, I'll figure it out.
I don't know.
I'll Google it. But
Google
we
it.
need like a music transition. What kind of music do you want?
Oh, isn't there? Okay. What is it? The Hitcher. Isn't there the Hitchhiker? No, it's a
Like a
series.
hitchhiker song?
No, there's a series, so I would figure they would have some type of music
Music?
from the Hitcher or the Hitchhiker or something.
I'll YouTube it. I'll find it.
I don't know, but I know there's something. I don't know.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, bye.
And we're back. So I found two.
Okay, you found two.
I found two. One of you might have heard, but there's another one that it's freaking hilarious.
Okay.
This first one goes: a man picks up a hitchhiker on the side of the road.
Okay.
The hitchhiker says, "I'm surprised you picked me up. I could have been a serial killer." And the driver responded, "The chance of two serial killers being in the same car is
gee.
astronomical." That was good. That was good.
What's that?
The other one is: I saw a hitchhiker with a sign that read "Heaven,"
Uh-huh.
so I ran him over.
Oh.
That's good. That was good.
Well,
All right, that was it.
Let's hope he went to heaven and not the other place. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Never know.
Never
Maybe
know.
he would have flipped the sign and would have said hell. Who
Yeah.
knows?
All right, campers. Thank you for tuning in to this special guest episode. This is the first episode you're
Yeah,
on.
you know what? You're right. I thought about that.
Yeah? Your first one.
I checked in.
All right, campers. You can find us on our Instagram. You can see all the pictures of Mary Vincent and the case and what she looks like, what Larry looks like, and see her really cool prosthetics that she wears. Over on our Instagram at campinsomnia_podcast. You can find all of our platforms in our link tree in the description of this episode. But yeah, thank you for listening and good luck trying to sleep tonight.
Yeah. Oof. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just do me a favor. Don't stick out your thumb on the side of the road, because you never know if some guy named Larry in a van is going to come pick you up.
Yeah.
You may not come back with arms. Okay?
Exactly.
So
You might
let's-
be dead.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. But thank you, campers. Have a good night.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Ta-ta. Ta-ta. Ta-ta.